Hello students, let's read this problem together. Monica has an income of $20,000. She will pay 12.8% for income tax. How much would the income tax be? So in this question, they're just asking us to figure out the income tax, and they've given us the income tax in a percent. So let's go ahead and set up a percent bar. So in our percent bar, we will represent the 0 and the 100. 0 at the beginning and 100 on the other end of the box. And then our corresponding numbers on the other side of the box are our dollar amounts. So 0% would represent $0, and 100% would represent all of her income, $20,000. So now we will find on the percent side of the bar where we think we would find 12.8%. So we can use our benchmarks. So halfway, that would be 50%. Halfway between the beginning and half would be 25%. So halfway between 0 and 25 would be about 12.5. So right around here, that would represent about 12.8%. So with this percent bar, we can see that this is the amount of her income that she is going to pay in taxes, income tax. So right here, I would like for us to talk about making estimates. So we said this would be about 50%. So if we come up here, 50% or half of Monica's income would be $10,000. And then half of that would correspond with 25%, which would be about $5,000. Once again, this was 10,000. This would be about 5,000 then. So we can see that ours is half of that. And so our answer should be somewhere between the 2,500 mark as an estimate. So now we're actually going to set up our proportion, and we are going to calculate the percentage. So I am going to use $20,000 represents 100%. So how many dollars would represent 12.8%? So I can set up that proportion using these numbers right here. I have X over 12.8 is equivalent to, on this side, I have 20,000 over 100. And now I can use my cross products. So I'm going to multiply 12.8 times 20,000. And I'm going to multiply X times 100. So 12.8 times 20,000 is equal to 100x. And now we are trying to isolate our x. So we are going to divide by 100. And whatever I do to one side in an equation, we make sure we do to the other side. And this is going to turn into 1x because 100 divided by 100 is 1. So we have x isolated all by itself. And then on this side, we're going to evaluate 12.8 times 20,000 divided by 100. What we can do here is we can simplify and take the 12.8 out to the front, and then we have 20,000 divided by 100, and we can divide both of those by 100, and by doing so, we will get 200 over 1. So that would be, we have the 12.8 still outside, and 200 divided by 1. 200 divided by 1 is 200. So to find x, the amount of income tax, we need to multiply 12.8 times 200. Let's go ahead and work that out. So anything times 0 is 0. So 8 times 0, 2 times 0, 1 times 0. We're going to put a placeholder. And then again, we're multiplying by 0. So 8 times 0, 2 times 0, 1 times 0. Now we're going to put two placeholders because we're multiplying by 2. And so 8 times 2 is 16, carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 more is 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So if we add this up, we get 0, 0, 6, 5, and 2. And so we also have to count our decimal places. So we can see that we have one number behind the decimal in our first factor. We have no decimals in our second factor. So we need a total of one number behind the decimal in our answer. So we're going to move in from the back one time. And then we have our answer. So x is equal to 2,560. So our income tax amount is 2,560. Now, in other questions, they have asked us what will be the net income, which means we had a second step. But in this question, if we go back and look at that question one more time, it says, how much would the income tax be? So they're only asking us about the income tax. Okay, so there is no subtracting. The income tax is 2,560. Does that match our estimate? Yes, it does, right? It matches the estimate that we made with our benchmarks. So learning your benchmarks and how it represents the money amount is good practice. All right, so we're going to go ahead and circle our answer. $2,500.60 is Monica's income tax amount.